Hi all, how you doing? Sorry for the delay. I've took so much time to put this video together. Um, I mean, tear my stuff apart. It's just that I'm busy. Happens. Brow 101, or what I call the perfect brow routine. Ready? It's kind of hard just to give you a ultimate tutorial for brows, mainly because everybody's brow is different. Some are naturally well furnished, some do not have that much of a brow, some people have an arch, some don't. So instead of giving you that perfect shape, I would give you more of my philosophy regarding the brow stuff. I don't know if you follow Instagram, but there are lots of the Instagram brow, like that very defined, almost drag queenish brow, which I totally admire. I'm not saying that is bad, but for everyday life, and as long as you do not wear that much makeup, then it's gonna look like too much draw on, and it's gonna age you. So what I typically prefer is going with the flow, understanding your brow architecture, and go with it. So, without further ado, let's dig into those different sections. Yeah, and before anything else, I'm sorry again. I'm using photo booth. I have good lighting today, lighting today. So I'm going with it. And yeah, and I'm not wearing anything on my face on purpose because I want to show you how a brow could make a big of a difference. So I'm gonna step in and show you. As you can see, these are my brows plucked, but with no makeup. I don't complain. I have pretty good brows. Um, but still I had lots going on with them, so I pretty much know everything brow related. And to talk about disasters in brow terms, when I got married, the makeup artist wanted to do a very big Lebanese type of makeup, which kind of requires that the whole brow goes off and goes so up, so higher up. What they did is that they plucked everything almost. I was left with a unibrow. They completely took off my tail, and it was a complete mess. Before 25 years, I've never plucked my brows actually, which was a good thing because I left them to grow and to mature, whereas some people and some kids today tend to pluck their brows very early, which I really disagree with, because one, they're gonna hurt this part, it's a very sensitive part of the face, and two, they're gonna regret it later. Brow trends move back and forth between a very thin brow and a very full-on youthful brow, but the constant is natural beauty is always there. So if you have kids and if you are a teenager, embrace those brows. You don't have to pluck them for them to look good, and I'm gonna show you that later. But if you have to pluck, I'd advise to go as minimal as possible, meaning that you're gonna take off all those strays like here in the brow bone, but do not dig in that arch unless you are very good with it. So if you're still starting with the brow thing, I'd advise you to go with a natural type of brow and work with it, and it could be really good. It's the case when you have like a very strong brow. Now onto those that do not have much hair in there. Before starting to overdraw them or or try to pluck them to give at least a shape, start with dyeing them. I know that there are a lot of dyeing products that you can afford even in drugstore, and they will help you to show all those hairs that are so light in color that they do not show. It will give you a very, very different approach on how furnished your brows are. And if worse come to worst, some people don't have them. There are huge techniques to mimic hair. So you have um, tattooing. I have been seeing like a few techniques that kind of simulate or do extensions even on the brows. So yeah, before drawing that harsh line, you can have a few options actually. Uh, I move on to the blah 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 and give you like a structured tutorial. Now I have all my products in here in my little girl's basket, and I'm gonna show you first your tools when plucking. Everybody that wants to pluck their brows would need a magnifying mirror, like 10 uh, 10, I think this one is 10 times, and it's a Tweezerman brand, so it's pretty good. It's sturdy and it lightens up. I don't know if you see it, so you can have a really good grasp of how your brow looks like. Now I'm looking. Yeah, I can even see those strays. You don't see it, but and no, gosh, it shows you the pores. So if you have an issue with pores, don't look at that. Then you have tweezers. Again, this is a Tweezerman tweezers. I like them because they are very, very sharp. So beware when plucking, you might hurt yourself at first, but if you get good with it, those are really great tools. And I focus mainly on those. I mean, when you get your shape, you don't really need to go like through the whole process of shaping your brows. So you only pluck, I mean, all those strays that appear and that disturb the shape going on. And I rarely, rarely ever pluck over here. Um, I mean, depends. If you have like very, very bushy brows and you cannot afford not to, then you can do it. I mean, whether it's plucking or waxing, but then you'll have whether to be really good at it or go to a professional. I usually recommend Benefit Brow Bars because they are everywhere, even in Paris. I don't know for the Oriental people, but they have pretty good professionals as well. I mean, even Indian have threading. So just go to a very good recommended person, and they usually go with the flow. So if you tell them I wanted to keep it natural and good, and I don't want that to disturb the actual shape, then it goes fine. Otherwise, for maintenance, use a good plucking tool. Also, if you have like very long brows, you always need a scissor, and those scissors usually are like having an indent, if you can see, so it doesn't hurt you, but it cuts. And usually, be careful with this tool. You use this is like a mascara one that I cleaned up with like hot water and soap, and that is very good for going through your brows and knowing exactly what's going on. So I'm gonna step in further and see nearer, sorry. So you see, now mine are kind of taken care of, but I mean, if you could like go there when you try to cut the scissor, always stay like 2 millimeters up from the actual line, because what you risk in doing that is you're gonna cut too short, and that is gonna give you those like sparse places in your brow, and that is not really cute. So yeah, so those are the other tools that you need to do. Again, I'm not doing the demonstration here because there are plenty on YouTube, but it really depends on your actual shape and how you're gonna do it. I always say less is more. So, before even trying to pluck them or to touch them, what I always advise people to is actually draw the shape they want to go for. So if you draw it, you're gonna only pluck that extra part that you do not want, and that will probably save you 90% of the errors that you might commit while plucking. Usually my main trouble is going on the arch, and sometimes I take a hair or two, it's just a matter of a hair or two that could ruin the whole look. So just be careful, just pluck, move back, look at the whole face, and then go back again. That I think is my main advice. And again, do not pluck unnecessary, or I mean, we get very much and very easily carried away while plucking, so be careful. That I always say. Then, when plucking, I'm going back further. So there are rules to get that perfect shape. So what you do is, if you can afford, I'm very nearsighted. This is why you always see me with my glasses on. So if you can afford putting lenses on, if you're that nearsighted, or work with a very close-up mirror, what we do is usually go for your perfect shape. And for that, you take any tool, whether it's a brush or even a pencil, and you go for the actual shape. So what you do is that you take the nostril and you look up, and that usually gives you a good start for your brow. What you do usually is that you let it open, for instance, and you mark your brow where you have it. Again, it's the same on the other side. Now onto the arch. Usually they say go to your pupil. Again, we start from the nostril, look in front of you, and then you're gonna have the arch. Okay? And then again you can mark it with the pencil open, and then for the end or the tail of your actual brow, it's the end of the eye. See? That's the rule, the general rule. The problem is that people do not always have a brow that follows that rule. Some people have straight brow, Asian most often. Some people have rounder brows that do not really go into an arch, and some people have shorter and higher brows that go like this way up. It's no big deal. It doesn't mean that it's not a good brow. Some even have thinner brows on the inside and they go, bushier, and then they go down. Again, it's not a big deal. What you do is that you look at your face. Usually your brow is okay with the face you have, but you try to see your brow structure. And for instance, if your brows are rounder, usually they give you a softer look, so it's a good look. Some people have like naturally very high arched brow, and that's good again. So go with the flow. Try to just check that rule if in general you have it. If not, it's not a big deal. Just go to a professional if you are too in doubt, and tell them to work with the flow and suggest to you a shape. And usually what I really advise people that goes to professional is ask them to draw the brow before plucking or waxing, in order for you to see it in the mirror and approximately detect if it is what you want or not. Better be prepared than be regretful afterwards. So yes, those are like the main stuff that you need to keep in mind while plucking those little chubby eyebrows out. Now that you have your brow waxed and perfected, do not be mistaken. Waxing or preparing the brow does not mean it's gonna stand out and look to its extreme potential and maximum potential. The reason is people's hair can go darker or lighter depending on their skin tone, on their ethnicity, and on their natural hair stuff. In my case, I do not have much body hair. I I mean, I do have dark hair on my head, but it's not that full on, and I always suffered from lighter hair. Even on my eyelids, I actually have blonde eyelashes, which is for me a very, very annoying thing because I look like I have no lashes on and they are looking straight. And that pattern goes even for the whole face. So I do have brows going on, but they do not look extreme or as focused on as I would love to. So I resort to filling them in, and I always see the difference, and it's great, and it makes you, I mean, especially when you have frames on and this bold type of frames, it kind of washes the whole face. So to balance things up, brows are a good way to start. Even like, for instance, if you're not very much into makeup, having a good base, minimal makeup on the eyes if you don't want, even some mascara, some under eye circular eraser, concealer, and then like a bold lip. You can balance it out with like bold eyebrows, and it looks perfect, and it looks refined, and it looks divine. I love women with like a bold lip, especially if you have like full on lips with a bold brow. It's really a look that I really love. So for that purpose, you have a few tools and a few options. Um, I'm gonna show you what I have personally, and then I'm gonna show you another alternatives. One that is very famous, it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills kit. It's an old one, a very old one. It comes with a brush, like an angled brush. See? Oh no, sorry. It's an angled brush. Okay, let's put it in. And it comes with stencils, very nice stencils. This is a wax and highlighting white, not wax, rather a cream for highlighting under the eyebrow. There is a wax here for like pushing them and setting them in place. And there are two color options. As you can see, they are cooler in tone. They are very taupey grayish browns. And this is one of the best colors to fill in an eyebrow when you are a brunette, an ashy brunette. Because if you are more of a redhead or more of a blondie girl with like, if your blonde hair is very golden in undertone, then ashy colors might not go great with them. You might go for like warmer undertones of brown or even lighter blonde colors. And there are a myriad, there are a lot of colors available. Anastasia Beverly Hills for the US gives you pretty good amount of choice. So you have the dip brow pomades, you have the eyeshadow, I mean brow shadows, you have the brow pencils, you have stencils. Those stencils really come in handy for a beginner because, as you can see, it gives you a few options of what your brow could be. I don't know how I can show you. I mean, let's take on something that could show the brow. Yeah, see, this is like what she calls a high arch. See? Okay. It's kind of hard, but I think you get the point. So that's the high arch. She has like the slightly high arch. So as you can see, yeah, it's a little bit more rounder. Then you have the medium arch, which is a little bit less harsh with the angle of the arch, but still there. It goes into a point. And then you have the petite arch, which is like a little brow. Usually it's this straighter you can get, and a little tail. Okay, those are like just. Anastasia is known for the arch look. She likes some arch. So even if you have like straight up brows, she's gonna build up a little bit of that tail in order for it to look like arched. I wouldn't say that you have to go for the arched look, especially if you don't have that shape, but it's achievable if you like it. It's achievable. You can have the stencils and you have it drawn on. That's one option. Another option that exists and is very common is the eyebrow pencil. This is one from Yves Rocher. It's a French brand, and it has a little eyebrow pencil on one tip and a spoolie on the other end. So it's alright. I mean, you can just draw some hair strokes and then brush it off with the spoolie. The spoolie here helps you have a much more a softer look to the brow. It gives those harsh lines some blur, so it's really great. Then you have a few new options. So for instance, if you don't want to invest in a deep brow pomade, you have the color tattoos in the color taupe, which could work great for some people. This is a cream eyeshadow. It's from Maybelline. It's the color tattoo in permanent taupe in the Europe countries, and I think it's called, I don't know, something as taupe in the US, but they are the equivalent. And you use like a angled brow brush, and this you can even use as an eyeliner brush, and those you use to brush in those hair strokes with that brow pomade or eyeshadow that is taupish and grayish in undertone to achieve a nice arch. Again, always brush up with a spoolie and you can have a great look. Then you have it. Okay, what else? I'm gonna show you my favorite way of doing it by the end. There also are brow kits like the Anastasia one. This is a sleek one, which comes again with a wax and a eyeshadow or brow shadow for just filling them in, and they work just as great. Alright, another way of doing stuff, if you're in a rush and you cannot afford to take too much time drawing them in, doing stuff, and again, I really love those type of products. This is the Artist Brow Plumper by L'Oreal, and it comes in a tube with a mascara wand, a little, very little one, and you brush that product through your brow, and what it does, it's tinted, so it tints them and it defines them and it push them in place. And also the product has fibers in it, which means it's gonna mimic hair into your actual hair by adding that fiber. So it's a very, very nice product. I really love that for days when I'm on a rush. Another product that I've bought lately is the Maybelline Brow Satin, and anything that comes in the same shape or format. And what it does, it has that little, it's a brow pencil, but in a waxy format. As you can see, it has a very fine tip, and it's great for those that have a very thin brow and they want to mimic hair. So if you do strokes, it's gonna help you a lot with it. And again, it's an ashy brown, so it's really great for my coloring. As I told you, if you are more of a golden blonde or a redhead, there are warmer alternatives that has more red or more yellow in them. This product also come with a sort of a shadow, a loose shadow with this tip on, just to fill in those more sparse areas and give a very soft, defined eyebrow. So it helps you like blur the lines and look more natural, if we can consider that natural. So yeah, I like this product a lot. And the one that I use pretty often is a one by Smashbox. It's the same principe, if you want, like same idea, but this one has a slanted edge to it. Okay, so it comes this way. I don't know if you can see, it's like a triangle shaped. All right, with a very, very grayish undertone, and it comes with a clear gel on the other end. And this is great. I like it for my brow shape because I do have wider length for my brows, so I don't mind this. It might be a little bit tricky for those that have like little let's say hair space, because it might go too wide and it's not very practical. For me, for on the go, it's really, really great, and this is one I'm gonna show you of. But I'm still gonna give you other alternatives. So if you don't want to invest in a specific brow product, then you can use any contouring product that you have on hand, or any ashy brown eyeshadow that you already have in your collection. For instance, this is a brow palette that not brow, a contouring palette that I have from Sephora, and you can like dig in those cooler tones for eyebrow definition. Or there are palettes actually, like you can see those browns, like ashy browns, that work great. This one would look great, I think, on a auburn, like a redhead, or even I think a blonde. So you can see it's a little bit warmer. So you work with that, and it works pretty great. That's another option. Or you know that naked that palette I showed you is a sleek one. It's an edited limited edition, so I won't give you that reference. It doesn't make sense. But you have that naked and naked 2 from Urban Decay that has very, very nice matte alternatives. And again, you have that cool undertone to the shadow, so it works great. And you have it like for everyday basis. You can use it on the eye and on the brow, even for the highlight colors for under the brow, and it works great. So you don't really have to invest in a brow product actually to get your brow on fleek. Oh gosh, this video is getting too long, but I'm sorry. I mean, there's so many stuff to say for this. And last but not least, those type of eyeshadow pencils are great. Those that have a cream color and then a brown color. I would go for the cream for the under eye definition. I mean, under the brow, when you finish up the whole thing and you want to add some extra definition, then you can draw on with that flesh toned eye pencil, and it will give you the definition without the shimmer. I'm not too fan of the shimmer in the daylight, especially for under the brow bone, because it's gonna be too obvious. So this works great to conceal also when you, I mean, between appointments with your waxer, or even for you if you don't want to pluck them on everyday basis. Those help conceal those growing hairs. Okay. And I mean, there are a few other options. If you want a more satiny finish, then you can use those chubby highlighting eyeshadow pencils, or even concealer. So you have concealers. This one is by MAC. I use it because I have horrendous under eye oh gosh, I forgot the word, dark circles. So yeah, so you can use that also for highlighting. As you can see, it has like that yellow and that pink that are color correctors, but they work great also for concealing. So yeah, those are the options. Now onto the demo, and it took you so long. Sorry if you have waited this long in this video. I hope it's not too random. But yeah, let's move on to the actual demo. So yeah, what I do usually is I go with the flow. When I see my brow, as you can see, I have a little bit sparse areas in here, a little bit not so defined arch, and a tail that doesn't go nowhere to go. It kind of don't know if it wants to be bold or not. So what it does, it's not very easy to explain, but I'm gonna show you with the demonstration. What I do is I look in the mirror. Oh gosh. Sorry, I think it went out of my screen just shut down. Sorry. So yeah, what I look at, I look close with a mirror, and what I try to do is start with the actual tail. So what I do is I take my product and draw little hair strokes on my brow. I try to keep my face put, but sometimes as I'm wearing frames, it helped me a little bit to look up. So, or put my eyebrows a little bit up. So what I do is try to define that tail. I usually work with a spoolie as well because it helps me, whether put the hair down and see what I'm doing. For instance, here I know it has a spot or area, so I kind of fill that in, and then I put the hair up and check it out and soften the harsh lines that I've created. Okay, so that's the tip done, and you can see the difference. It's instant. You see it right away. So what I do next is go for the whole main body of the brow, and I work on the first upper part. So what I do is, again, hair strokes, and I try to straighten up a little bit the arch and work for it. I also try to fill in a little bit, okay? And I go very light-handed on that inner part of the brow because I don't want it to be too bold and too defined. It looks fake. So what I'm gonna do is, again, little strokes and very light-handed motion just to give it a little bit more body, and then brush up, and I look up, and as you can see I do have sparse areas in my brow. So what I do is try and give it a little bit definition again with brow strokes. Yes, there is some, it's funny how satisfying it is. So yeah, as you can see, if I move backward, this one is pretty much more defined than the other one, but it's still kind of harsh, as you can see. What I do is move on to the gel, and for that, oops, taking my product and brushing it. I think this is the part that makes the whole difference. I always like to brush my brows upwards. It gives you an illusion of a lift to the face. I did not do much. I usually have quite symmetrical brows, but still now you can see the difference. This brow is like meh, and this brow is like, oh gosh, I'm here and I'm bold and I like it. So yeah, you keep on brushing the product in, you brush it up, 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 up. It's gonna look crazy sometime, but what I do is then I run the brush and tame those unwanted hair, and there you have it. Actually, I usually focus on the first part of my brow because I want it to be softer, and then I don't mind a bit more definition on the tail. And that is it. That's my brow routine. It's easy, it's not complicated. If you want to go a little bit fancy, you can go with that eyebrow, that light pencil. See, I'm drawing, don't mind it now. I'm drawing that line, and what I'm gonna do is take my finger and, sorry if you cannot see, and kind of, see, I'm blurring it out, and it's giving me a much more defined eyebrow. And what I'm gonna do is also work on the inner part as well. See? And usually I use the brush, but I don't have it with me. So you can even work with the tip of the nail and blur things out. And as you can see, if I move backward, there is a huge difference between this brow and this brow. So yeah, I hope I was not too talkative in this brow 101, and I hope you've learned something. Sorry again, it's my first video, so it might be a little bit unprofessional, but I try to give you my best. I doubt you're gonna stay this long watching my video, but if you do, then thanks very much, and I hope you've learned something, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!